Africa is slowly becoming a military continent, and this is about to get out of hand. Now we have to understand that military takeovers were a thing in Africa during the times when Africa gained its independence in the past. Oh, did I say just the past? Well, the past is back.
I'm back.
With 51 military including attempted takeovers since 2010, the most successful being of Niger, successful twice and failed once. Zimbabwe, Mali, Central African Republic, Sudan, just to mention a few. The takeover in Niger, led by soldiers belonging to the Presidential Guard, is just the latest in the string of coups that have taken place in recent years. There were two in Burkina Faso in 2022, as well as a failed coup attempt in Guinea-Bissau, the Gambia, and the island nation of Sao Tome and Principe. In 2021, there were 6 coup attempts in Africa. 4 of them were successful. Last year, a senior African Union official, Moussa Faki, said the resurgence of unconstitutional changes in government are worrisome. Now, the world is wondering what is happening in Africa with the military taking over the government. Now, the whole military government system started exactly in February to March 2011. The African Union's Peace and Security Council, PSC, met to draw a full-fledged roadmap to dial back to the conflict in Libya. A PSC mission gathered at Nouakchott, Mauritania, to travel to Tripoli, Libya, to open negotiations for the conflict. This paragraph, which is known as the roadmap, contained an elegant 4-point pathway including the cessation of hostilities, delivery of humanitarian assistance through cooperation, protection of foreign nationals, and adaptation of implementation of political reforms to eliminate the cause of the crisis. Guess what? Both the government of Libya and the opposition initially rejected the roadmap.
6.5 hours later.
The United States and France began to bomb Libya. This bombing took place under the watch of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and the UN Security Council Resolution 1973, voted on by 3 African countries, Gabon, Nigeria, and South Africa. The humanitarian intervention quickly exceeded the UN mandate for protecting citizens, moving towards regime change using immense violence that resulted in civilian casualties. See, the disregard shown by the North Atlantic states for the African Union and the PSC has gone virtually unremarked, disrespectful. In 2014, France set up the G5 Sahel, a military arrangement that included Burkina Faso, Chad, Mali, Mauritania, and Niger, and expanded and opened new military bases in Gao, Mali, Jemena, Chad, Niamey, Niger, Ouagadougou. The United States, for its part, built enormous drone bases in Agadez, Niger, from which it conducts drone strikes and aerial surveillance across the Sahel and the Sahara Desert. This is one of the many US bases on the African continent. The United States has 29 non-military facilities in 15 countries on the continent, while France has bases in 10 countries. No other country outside the continent has many military bases in Africa. The question is, why? Now, stay with me. On the 20th of May 2016, the African Union Peace and Security Council, PSC, held its 601st meeting. Though the agenda was broad, members of the PSC came to meeting concerned about the range of conflict, the collapse of the Libyan state, and the impact that this had across Sahel and the ongoing struggles in the Lake Chad region, with the persistence of Boko Haram and the wars that marked the Great Lakes region with the loss of sovereignty by the Democratic Republic of Congo on the eastern flank. In this meeting, the Council realized that the existence of military presence of the US and France, instead of bringing perpetual peace, more identity-based conflicts were emerging. Many attacks on governments within the areas were being toppled as long as they did not sleep in the same bed with the both countries, which are France and USA. On the 15th of July 2016, the Russian President Vladimir Putin got word that NATO was on a mission to destabilize the African region, and this was also his ordeal. Hence, he had a phone meeting with 15 heads of states, and the contents of this meeting are unknown to this day. But since then, the rise of military attempts and military coups rose exponentially since. And most of these coups saw the states inclining to a more Russo-Beijing nature. Hence, what we need to understand is that there is nothing that can ever happen in Africa or in the world per se without USA and Russia. So, you see, the African problem is a myriad of issues, and most of them are proxy wars in which we have puppet governments and we have stooges who act as leaders. And most of them are either working for both sides or one. What is happening in Africa is a clear indication that it's taking charge of its own territory. And now it's time for us to watch what's happening in Niger, as it is the new Sarajevo of the upcoming world war. Before I go, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video, share your thoughts, and let us discuss. Please wait for the next.